There are multiple reasons why your reactions may not show up on standard allergy tests, and we're going to go through all the major reasons in this video. What do allergy tests actually mean? Standard allergy tests detect IgE, an antibody involved in the classic allergy reaction, either in the skin or in the blood. A quick gist of how a true allergic reaction happens. IgE attaches to mast cells, which are kind of like giant chemical bombs. And when an allergen attaches to the IgE, it spills out a bunch of histamine among other chemicals. Remember this picture as we go through all the other possibilities. Assuming you followed your doctor's orders and didn't take antihistamines, these are all the other scenarios that can happen. There are two big categories. You can have an IgE-mediated allergy, but it still doesn't show up. How? Some just don't show up well on tests. Known examples include wheat or sesame. Some of their allergenic components may not be in standard extracts. Tests are a great tool, but they aren't perfect, and there are a number of minor reasons that it may not work. Local allergy, where you have IgE only in certain parts of the body and not circulating in your blood. For example, having them only in the mucous membranes of your intestines, nasal passages, or even your eyes. A cross-reactivity problem. You have food allergy symptoms, but the actual culprit is an inhalant allergy, like pollen, mold, or dust mites. This can be a lot more serious and complicated than what is known as oral allergy syndrome, where it's thought of as mostly tingling in the mouth when eating raw fruit or vegetables that cross-react with pollen. From personal experience, you can have pretty severe symptoms from mold and food. And also, I have a severe shrimp allergy, but my test was completely negative. It was, however, very positive to dust mites, so it's possibly a cross-reactive mechanism. We know that proteins in crustaceans, mites, and insects are very similar in structure. Wrong culprit problem. When the actual cause is a contaminant of a food, like parasites in fish or mites in flour. Sometimes reactions only happen when multiple factors occur together, like if you exercise after eating your trigger food, or if you take NSAIDs, like ibuprofen with your food, and sometimes only if you eat a certain combination of foods. And now for the second big category. Your allergy is non-IgE mediated, so it can't show up on standard IgE tests. Remember the classic reaction involves IgE antibodies and mast cells? Well, there are other antibody types and many other types of immune cells in our immune system. Let me go through a quick list of the mechanisms. Your reactions can be caused by other antibodies like IgG or IgM causing cell death, or by those antibodies and allergens clumping together called immune complex and causing inflammation wherever they land in the body. And then there are at least a few subtypes of cell-mediated reactions still being uncovered, by the way, involving other immune cells like T cells, eosinophils, neutrophils, etc. And then immune reactions starting or worsening because of barrier defects and metabolic problems, and reacting directly to chemicals without needing antibodies. A lot of people don't know this, but IgE is not the only way mast cells can be triggered. It has many other levers that can be pulled, called receptors, in which case you won't find via standard testing because it doesn't involve the only antibody we routinely test for. Speaking of mast cell disorders are another increasingly common problem that may have symptoms exactly like classic allergies, but often a trigger can't be found. And if you do have IgE allergies, an underlying mast cell disorder can significantly worsen the reaction. All things mast cells and mast cell activation disorders is a fascinating and complex topic and really deserve their own videos, so I promise more on this in the future. Also note, your immune system doesn't just activate one pathway. Multiple things can be going on at the same time in the same person, and a single diagnosis can also involve multiple pathways. Things like atopic dermatitis or eosinophilic esophagitis, a chronic inflammation of the food pipe, frequently involve both IgE and non-IgE mechanisms. Celiac disease involves other antibodies, T cells, barrier defects. FPIES likely involves T cells, neutrophils, and also barrier defects. It can be so frustrating when you know you have symptoms but can't get answers. Even worse if you're dismissed. I was a mixed case, positive tests on some, but negative on others. Honestly, if I didn't have any positive tests, I do wonder if I could have had the strength to know that something was actually wrong. So in a weird way, I feel lucky. It can be hard mentally when there's no proof of your very real problems. When there are no clear answers from the doctor, you end up with self-diagnosed food sensitivities. And it's very common to hear these dismissed. But unless it's a classic allergy in the narrow sense, there are no easy tests that can confirm or deny the existence of these sensitivities. We do not have solid proof because there's no proof to be had. This is why I want to bring awareness to all these other possibilities, and that these possibilities are not a mere sensitivity. Their lifelong impact can be just as serious as a true allergy. Not to knock on severe classic allergies. My kid has these, and it's a life on constant vigilance. We even had a scare recently when she started to wheeze and have trouble breathing. We were ready with the EpiPen and about to head to the emergency room when luckily it started to die down. And that with likely just a tiny speck of something that wasn't supposed to be in her food. Just to say, I do understand the seriousness of true allergies. But as someone with experience with both, all the hidden kinds deserve attention too. In fact, over the long term, they may be more damaging precisely because the cause is so hard to find and so hard to be taken seriously. What about IgG testing? Food sensitivity tests using IgG are available, but official recommendations are a big nope. Why? Didn't I just say IgG is involved in some non-IgE-mediated reactions? And there are studies looking into IgG and migraines and IBS and other things. The problem, we don't really know yet what the levels mean. IgG can also signal tolerance, or what you usually eat more of, so they're likely to tag more foods than you actually do have a problem with. That's why doctors and all the official organizations say no. On the other hand, there are plenty of anecdotes from patients who have found relief. And what about the science? There are quite a few emerging studies looking into IgG and various illnesses. Personally, I have not tried IgG testing, so I can't say from experience. I found all my triggers with a combination of standard allergy tests and elimination diets. So what do we make of all this? I think this is an area that we just don't really know the answer yet. And I'm not really convinced that it would necessarily make finding your triggers easier. Still, you're free to experiment as long as you're well aware of the costs and limitations, and make sure to double check the results with an actual elimination diet before committing to it long term. If it were me and I found through an IgG panel several suspects, I would try eliminating them for a couple weeks and see if I notice any difference in my symptoms, and carefully reintroduce each food every few days, maybe a week, and note if it causes any symptoms at all. Only if there is a convincing difference in symptoms and those reappear when reintroduced would I consider that food an actual trigger. Remember, your medical team is on your side. It should be a collaborative effort. There can be many other possibilities for the same symptoms. Let them help you find the cause, or at least rule out other causes. And make sure to get checked again if your symptoms happen to worsen. A negative test does not mean your symptoms are not real. There can be many legitimate reasons behind your reactions. Your path to answers might be longer than someone with clear positive tests, but there are answers to be found. Thanks for watching, and if there were any points in this video you'd like to learn more about, please let me know in the comments. We'll find better answers together. Till next time.